15 years ago, I remember actively wanting to and then actioning changing my life. And there are some years now, age 44, where I don't have anything kind of notable that I could say about it. There might be years when I was like 23, for example, but I don't really remember. I don't remember what I was doing, where I was, what was happening. And yet, that moment of turning 30 back in 2011 and being at the point of the end of my 20s, moving into my 30s, really resonated and really was conscious. I was activated. I was quite methodical about it. I was very emotional about it. And there were a lot of things going on. So we'd had some deaths in the family, which had been very upsetting and unexpected at times and very challenging. On a positive note, I hated my living situation. So I was moving into living with my partner, living with a boy for the first time, which I'd never done, just the two of us. And I was excited to the new area that we were moving to and to the home that we were going to build together. And we actually ended up staying there for 11 years, which was great. That's another story for another time. And it was a time where I really began to understand how I could make my life and business communicate with each other. And I realized for the first time, I guess, that the system that I had been told about working a 9 to 5 and doing the safe option and putting one foot in the front of the other was not going to necessarily work for me based on my training and based on my life in my 20s. So I needed to take my life and my business essentially into my own hands. I had enough evidence by then that no one was coming to save me. I wasn't going to be plucked from obscurity. Nothing would happen by accident. I had to really drive this forward. And so this was a point where I really started to look at my skills and expand what I could do. So I was working as an agent and I was really understanding business a lot more, which was so valuable. And this also was the point where I decided to train as a coach. I'd never really thought about the word life coach before. And my auntie was a coach, and we'd never really had a discussion about it. I literally went to a weekend free course and came home on the first day and said, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to train. And my partner was like, okay, cool. So what's happened? What's happened in this day for you to be so on board with this? And honestly, it was one of the toughest things that I did because at that time I was working full time and I worked every morning from 5 a.m. every evening. I had to get so many coaching sessions in. I was often away at the weekends and it was a big commitment and financial commitment as well. And yet it was so great because when I came out and I was qualified, I just had that sense of great. I now know that I've always got something up my sleeve. And as somebody who at that time was thinking about growing their family and becoming a parent, and I didn't become a parent till I was 33, but I really was thinking in those ways of practically, how am I going to make money? How am I going to be able to take care of me and my family and my kids and all of that stuff? I know that many of you are at a point where you're ready. You're ready to see what's possible. And I think that lots of us get to a stage in life where we've really begun to notice and see a lot. So maybe we've lost friends, maybe we've had challenges, maybe we've people who are close to us have died, maybe shocking things have happened, maybe things haven't worked out in a way that we thought. And we get to that stage where maybe we say in a loud or in a quiet way, enough is enough. It's time to see what I'm capable of and what's possible. And I can't go on like this. Like, I feel like there's more to life. So in today's video, without obviously knowing your situation, so please take what you want from this and leave the rest, I want you to just see how some of these things land for you today. Number one, if you want to take your life in a new direction, I want you to notice the power of adjustments and how it's going to take some time to move things around. And this will contradict most things you'll see on the internet. Most things are led by time, speed, impressive statistics, percentages, increase, overnight success. And if that doesn't happen in that way for you, you might very quickly get in your head. And you might start saying to yourself, like, I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right because my process hasn't been quick. It hasn't looked like that. Well, I want to reassure you that you will need to go at your own time. I remember somebody saying to me when I had my baby, well, it's all right, you can stay at home all day because you can just do a bit of coaching. I was like, I can, but also, like, you didn't see what happened before. You weren't part of the story when you saw me literally work myself into the ground to get something done and get something handed in. So really looking at what it's going to take and maybe giving yourself more wiggle room than perhaps you think that you need. I want you also, on the flip side of that, to understand how little and often action can be so powerful. In 2023, I started a 15-minute running habit every single day. And that was such a sweet spot for me because that 15-minute running habit gave me incredible results, actually. It changed everything. It changed my sleep. It changed what I ate. It changed how I moved through the world. It changed the amount of water I ate. It changed my body. It changed my energy. But it also proved to myself that I was on the track. And I think sometimes with all of the media that has been given to us over the years of like doing a summer body and doing something like for 2 weeks and everything feeling quite reckless for that time. And then it's like, I'm off we go. I wanted something that was consistent. And when you start doing, so this could be a 15-minute habit for anything really. It could be like every day for 15 minutes, I think about my goals. Every day for 15 minutes, I meditate or whatever it might be. I exercise, I walk around the block, I read a book. Building that habit builds the most enormous amount of confidence in yourself because you are telling yourself and you are showing yourself what you are made for. Number 3, I think that when you're trying to change your life, it's really important to choose one thing, even if you have loads of ideas. I think that sometimes people get lost and worried about choosing the right thing. Well, firstly, I'm here to say that if you know very quickly you've chosen the wrong thing and you're not enjoying it and it's not for you, you can choose again. And I am that person in a library that if I read 2 pages of something, I will put it back and I'll choose another book because I really believe that life is too short. And from everything I've read about being a published author, they always say you've got to grab somebody in the first couple of pages. And if I know something is not right for me, I will put it back and release it and choose again. However, If you manage to do one thing, so if you manage to finish that one book, it's likely you're going to then choose the next book, and then you're going to build the reading habit. It's exactly the same with your goals. If you choose one idea and you show to yourself that you can do it, that you are in flow, that this is happening, you're then going to build momentum in all other parts of your life. Number 4, I want you to set yourself up for success. And I want you to remove the negotiables. And I've had this with my kids over the years, when the small things started to really get in the way, where every day there would be arguments or disagreements or like back and forth, or I don't know, meltdowns about something like putting your shoes on or what they were going to wear that day. And it really started to trip up the flow of our family, because it was like, we just need to put some shoes on because we've got to get there. We've got to get there in 10 minutes and we're going to be late. So pick some shoes, get them on, and let's go. And I really hope that you don't think that I'm just, not thinking about my children's feelings, but I'm also trying to prepare them for the real world, that there's some times where it's like, okay, you just got to put shoes on and take that decision off the table. And I think with our habits is that the voice of, I don't feel like it, I don't want to, maybe tomorrow, I don't want to do it today, can we just do a lesser version of this? That voice is the default setting. So we have to learn how to turn it down, because otherwise that's just going to be blaring out and we're not going to be able to move through it. Number 5, you have to note all your results and capture the process. Now, I know that often the way that people share their announcements, they show you the final product online. Like, look, this has happened. Ta-da! It's like the end of the renovation. They might show a bit of the before or after, like opening the key, opening the door, like 2 seconds of that. And then it's like 35 seconds of the whole renovation. However, you in those big processes have to celebrate every single part. Like, I did it and now I'm moving on and this is happening and on to the next thing. And this feels really great. Number 6, get to know your blocks. Get to know them, because whether you like it or not, whether you get to know them or not, they will come up again and again. And it's like one of those moments where people say about learning the lessons, like, I really learned that lesson. I really went through the process there. And it's true with your blocks. Often you might have 2 or 3 things that always hold you back, your triggers that come up again and again. They will put different outfits on and show up in different situations, but underneath it all, they are exactly the same things. One of the things that I like to do is, when I'm doing that 15-minute habit, if I've got a block that is really prominent, I use that time to release it. So when I'm running, for example, if I'm having a day where I'm really second guessing myself, or I can't make up my mind, or I'm not feeling creative, I will visualize all those blocks leaving my body, especially if I run up a hill, it's like, let them go, keep them behind. And I will visualize actually bringing in creativity. I know for some people you're like, whoa, you've lost me, Nikki. That's absolutely fine. But if you're a visual learner like I am, that really helps. Number 7, observe the ripple effects of your action and capture it all. So I have 2 children that live with me who are 6, or live in my house, our house, 6 and 10. How old are they? 6 and 10. And I have now acknowledged that they are truly watching everything. And they always have, from being little. But in this time right now at 6 and 10, I am under the spotlight. If I don't do what I say I'm going to do, they are questioning me about that, or they are finding out why, or I will share with them. So the other day I did something that was really out of my comfort zone, and I talked to my son about it in detail, not because I was excluding my daughter, but she wasn't there. So I was talking to my son and I was saying about my thought process, and I was sharing my vulnerability, and the adults do hard things too. And I realized that in my business life, there are so many ripple effects to my work, but I'm also keeping it at home. If I show up doing the things that I say that I'm going to do, I know that for my partner and for my kids, they are witnessing that as well. So it's important to capture it all, absorb it all, rather than just brush it off and go on to the next thing. Number 8, you can mix it up or keep it the same. It's entirely up to you. When I am building a habit, I like to keep the same 15-minute habit of running. But the way that I mix it up is I go on different routes. I've got a few routes that are my favorite, that are a perfect 15 minutes if I'm on track. But sometimes I just like to do a little bit longer and go around the houses and do different things. When you are changing things, remember, you get to choose it all. However, you just have to keep checking in with, am I mixing this up and trying to overcomplicate it or confusing it? Or is this absolutely helping me and getting it closer to where I want to get to? Number 9, when you are essentially feeling as though you are starting at zero. I don't like to start at zero, because you're never starting at zero, but starting down that end and you want to get over there. I am always in touch with the big goal. I am always in communication. It's like if I was trying to, if I sit on a flight, for example, and I'm on the aeroplane, I am that person who will move my screen and I like to see how close I am to the destination. And I remember a flight going to Hong Kong and leaving London. It's like, oh, we're just going over France. Like, we've got so far to go. We've got all of Russia, and Russia is massive. However, for me to keep connecting with that big goal really helps me. That brings me on to number 10, actually. Alongside being in communication with that big goal, be in connection with the next goal, because that big goal may take some time. It may require your patience. It may require 1,756 to-dos before you get there. So always focus on the next bit. And once you know that you're beginning to eat up those miles or that progress, that's what's going to move you and encourage you to keep moving in that right direction. If you would like help and support, I would love to do just that. Let's have a conversation. You can email me, hello@nikkiraby.com, or use the link down below. Send me a message, ask me to book some time in with you, and we can have a conversation and we can go from there. Lots of love.